Hey everyone, RogueGold here, welcome back to the Division 2. The Year 6 Season 3 PTS is officially underway. We did our stream yesterday of it, checking everything out after the servers went live. I have to give an immense thank you to everybody who tuned into that. It was an amazingly successful and fun time, and it helped cap off this last January as the best month of my channel ever. So thank you all so much for the support. But that is not why you are all here. This video begins my coverage of the Year 6 Season 3 PTS, which for anybody who doesn't know stands for Public Test Server. They run one of these before every major new season and update for the game so that people can jump in, test out the new stuff, give some feedback so that hopefully things can be refined before they hit the live servers. In case you missed my patch note breakdown, which did an overview on everything that is coming with this new season in PTS, I will link that down in the description and in the upper corner right now. However, as I typically like to do, I go into the PTS, I check out all the stuff, and I see what stands out the most to me, what I think deserves to be highlighted and shown off. And for this video, that is the new Refactor gear set. Now, when we read the patch notes the other day, I did not expect this thing to be as good as it has turned out to be. In my opinion, this new gear set has easily become one of the most standout additions coming with the next season of the game. And so, in this video, we're going to break down why that is, what exactly the set does, demonstrate it, and I'll give my thoughts on how I think it's going to fit into the overall configuration of the endgame builds that we have in the Division 2. So, hopefully that sounds good. If you end up enjoying the video and you want to stay up to date on everything coming up with the Division 2 in the future, I hope you will consider clicking that subscribe button. I got more PTS videos and more coming your way. But with that said, and without further ado, let's go. Alright, now something that I always think is important to point out as I go over these PTS videos, my character and account on here is far from maxed out or optimized. I have no progression on PC, meaning I'm at the mercy of whatever the PTS unlocks for me and whatever stuff I'm given access to. So for example, when I'm making builds to test out here, I don't have the collection of all of the exotics in the game to slot in. I don't have expertise levels. I don't have access to the 3 post-launch specializations that were added. So just keep that in mind that for this gear set and all other PTS stuff that I show off, this is what I'm able to do with it, but on your main accounts and whenever I get this in the game, we can definitely take this stuff much further. But let's begin by breaking down the Refactor gear set itself, right? What does this thing do? The 2-piece bonus is going to give you 15% status vex, the 3-piece is 25% skill damage, and the 4-piece gives you the talent called Return to Sender. It reads, receive repairs of 10% of the damage dealt by your skills. Your allies will receive 20% of the damage dealt by your skills. Okay, so on paper it is kind of a skill damage lifesteal kind of a build that also impacts your allies, so this could play well in a support role. But I'm telling you guys, whatever you might be envisioning right now, and certainly what I thought when I read this, right, 10% damage, okay, that's pretty small. It is way more potent than you're likely thinking. Taking a look at the amplification talents on the chest piece, we have increased interest. This increases the repair received from Return to Sender from 10 to 25% and from 20 to 35%. Do keep in mind that in the demonstrations and gameplay you are going to see, I do have the chest piece slotted in because I think for the most part this will be kind of a must run if you really want to max out the potential of this set. And then we have the backpack talent called Over-Engineered. While at full armor, repairs received from Return to Sender will provide bonus armor up to 40% of your total armor. Does not apply to allies. So certainly not bad as well, but this is definitely a more solo focused piece, I would say. One other interesting thing I wanted to point out before we really take a look at this is the fact that this is the first gear set to my recollection and knowledge that has dual core attribute assignments. By that I mean some of the pieces of this gear set come inherently with a skill tier, whereas some of them come with armor. I think that speaks to kind of the hybrid playstyle that this encourages, but I just wanted to point that out. Alright, so like I said, reading this on paper, and I think when we all went over it in the patch notes, we were like, okay, there could be potential here. This could be a nice little support set, something that you run in group content. But I'm telling you guys, at least in my opinion, this is far more relevant and powerful than I had imagined. And I really think, barring any changes that the devs might make from now until launch, this is going to be a very popular new set for people to run. So let's jump over to the shooting range, and I want to give you guys a few demonstrations on how this works with different skills. Alright, so we have a few different clips here that I'm just going to kind of cycle through of how different skills interact with this and how they heal you up in different amounts. Again, keep in mind that I do have the gear set chest piece on, affecting the heal value of what you're seeing. Beginning with the striker drone, a pretty moderate amount of healing, right? This is still pretty impressive, I would say, given the striker drone's relatively low damage, but this is solid for single target stuff. Moving over to the Oxidizer, this is about what you would expect for single target stuff, right? A relatively low, moderate heal over time tick. When you move over to a group though and you hit multiple targets at once, that is when you very quickly refill your armor bar. Now again, keep in mind I do have relatively low armor on this build, I have 0 armor cores, but at the same time this effect also heals your allies for even a greater amount, so if you were running with a tank build, somebody who has 6 blues, this is still going to heal them very quickly, and that counts even more so for this next one, the mortar turret. One shot from this on almost any enemy on the amount of armor I have on this build will fully heal you up. Now of course that makes sense because you're dishing out a ton of damage in one single blast, but it's still just really cool to see that a gear set has this much power and potential. Moving on to the Stinger Hive, again on a single target, this is about what you would expect, again a pretty moderate amount of healing for the amount of damage you're dishing out, but once again if you throw this into a group, it is going to pretty much instantly refill your armor all the way, and given you structure your build for skill damage, it's going to do plenty in that category as well. Alright, and then finally I wanted to show off the burn sticky bomb to show off that status effects will also impact this heal. So I shoot the target, and before I even detonate it, you can see how the burn is giving me that passive healing. And since the 2-piece of this gear set is 15% status effects, there is potentially some interesting stuff you could do with both a CC and healing build for your team. So yeah, hopefully those demos give you a decent idea of what this is capable of. So there you have it folks, that is more or less an overview of this new Refactor gear set. It needs some further and more in-depth testing and group content for sure. I really just wanted to pass along some of my first impressions and why I think this is such a standout addition among the other stuff they're adding. But I will say, in its current state, I don't see how this doesn't become a must run in legendary content. Because again, keep in mind on this character, I don't have expertise levels, I don't have technician unlocked, which would open up a lot of other build possibilities. I don't have the ninja bike. Like there's going to be so much creativity and power that can be put into this beyond what I'm showing in this PTS and video. I really think this thing is going to soar, again barring changes which could always come because this is a PTS, it's not the final representation. But yeah, I've seen a lot of people in the community buzzing about this. I've seen many discussions of people saying how this could be incorporated into raid and incursion strategies for even faster clear times. So bottom line, I'm quite floored and pleasantly surprised by the performance of this new Refactor gear set, and I would be very curious to get y'all's take on it. Whether you've jumped in and messed around with it in the PTS yourself, whether this video is the first time maybe that you're seeing it in action, what do you think about this gear set's performance and potential? Do you think it is going to be quite as popular and strong as I'm thinking? Maybe you think I'm missing certain aspects and it won't be quite that good? As always, whatever thoughts you've got, leave them down below. Can't wait to read through them. That's going to do it for me on this one, folks. Again, more PTS coverage is coming on the way, so stay tuned. But until then, RogueGold. Ow.